Holy smokes, inside the Holy Smokes Theater, we are live. Welcome to College Football's Peek Around the Corner with your host, Greg Flugar. We cover everything in college football because we love everything in college football. And if you do us well, please subscribe to our channel. Smash the like button if you like our content. Share the video with your family and friends. If you want to support this Rebel Outpost, if you want to support the home for college football sickos with a donation, help us keep the lights on, hit that dollar sign where you make that comment, and I'll get to you super chat as quick as I possibly can. Welcome everybody. Everybody is welcome. Everybody is welcome inside the studio that sits on the corner of Keith Jackson Parkway in Kurt Gowdy Avenue. Do not be afraid. Do not be afraid to become a legend, a PATC legend, with your comments and with your phone calls. During the live show, you are going to hear some loud noises. Some very loud noises coming from on top, coming from on high. No, it is not the maroon and gold heavenly Father that is raining thunder, lightning strikes down on me. It is, we are getting we're getting a roof done. We're getting a new roof, tiles done today and tomorrow. So there's a lot of hammering. They have slowed down here in the last hour. it is very hot outside. Maybe they're slowing down. Maybe they're going to be coming to an end for today. They've got it half done. Tomorrow they're going to finish it off. So if you hear some like big noise, it's not the fat guy from Minnesota's heart collapsing. It's not the maroon and gold Heavenly Father raining down on me. It is people doing some roofing on our house. So, anyways, I'm glad you all came in. It's May 13th. May 13th, Tuesday. May matters. We've got a lot to go over today. First, we are going to take this long article. We're going to talk some football. Football, college football. We are ESPN, Adam Rittenberg and Conley, and there is this long ESPN article out there. And we're going to splice it up. And it ranks in each conference, it ranks your team's off season. How well did they do this off season? Within the conference, they rank them. So in the ACC, we are going to do the ACC today, 1 through 17. And they give you the criteria, the metrics, retention. How well did you keep your top players, your core players? Did you lose any of them in the portal? What did you get in the portal? Also, did you lose coaches? And what type of, did you get a top tier coach during the offseason? So that is the metrics. We'll go over it. I got to tell you, there's a lot that I completely disagree with these lists from ESPN. ESPN and the fat guy from Minnesota, we are not lining up on how well these teams did during the off season. Holy smokes. You know what? I went through the list of every conference, and I'm like, am I reading this correctly? What is this ranking again? It ain't their prediction of order of finish. And I had to reread the article. And no, it's how they rank their off seasons. We are going to take this one conference at a time. And since this is the second day of the ACC spring meetings, we are going to tackle the ACC rankings from ESPN's perspective on how well they handled the offseason. Then we're going to go through an article from On3 real quickly, like Andy Staples. The Broadcasting Act, the Sports Broadcasting Act. The Sports Broadcasting Act of 1961. It is a double-edged sword. Is this what we really... Do we want to give college football the same power that the NFL does when it comes to negotiating the media rights deal? It sounds good, don't it? It sounds really good. Everybody under one umbrella, except for those G5 schools, I guess. I guess they're going to be discarded, but whatever. Everybody, the A4 under one umbrella in media negotiations, and everyone's going to make a whole lot more money. Sounds great, don't it? Sounds fantastic, don't it? If Congress can change the law to not just incorporate the NFL, but college sports. However, it's a very dangerous, sometimes you don't want to get what you want to get. I don't know if we want this to happen. We will go into that. And then finally, we have an update in the Holy Smokes Theater. It is a minor update. It is what we believe is what is going to be reported next when it comes to the drama inside the ACC. I want everybody to relax. I want everybody to take a big breath. You see the seating change on your title screen. We had to make the change. Remember, the last Holy Smokes Theater up on the stage was all 6 of those universities. But we had to pull that back a little bit from what we are hearing behind the chatter behind the curtain. Now, let me make this perfectly clear. Peek around the corner. We've been saying this for days, for weeks, for months. Even though some people do not accurately report what we say on this show every day. I think they get a kick out of it or something, or they're just too stupid to understand what we're saying. Nothing is imminent. If something is, I will be the most shocked person. Nothing is imminent. However, we believe some reporting / speculation is becoming more and more imminent. And we wanted to set the stage up how we think the reporting is going to be. Now, nothing has changed from our April 8th live show. Nothing has changed from our April 8th live show. We went out there on a limb. The fat guy from Minnesota went out there on a very skinny limb, way up high in the trees, the redwoods. There's a very good chance I'm going to fall off. I'm going to break that skinny limb, and I'm going to be tumbling down. I'm going to hit the ground, and I'm going to cause an earthquake. But we did it. We went out there on April 8th. Nothing has changed. We believe those 5 universities that you see on the screen right now that are full members of the ACC are not going to be full members in 2030. Not of the Atlantic Coast Conference. We believe this is all going to happen before, all tidied up and done in 28, 29 at the latest. Nothing has changed on that. But we're going to take the next step here. We are going to make something perfectly clear before we get off the air today, because this is the true chatter behind the curtain. North Carolina and Virginia, for right now, we're going to have those 2, the only 2 on the stage. We're going to get into it at the back end of the monologue. Holy Smokes Theater update. Again, let me make this perfectly clear. We believe, and again, most people are, maybe a lot of people are going to disagree with us here at Peek Around the Corner, and that is fine. I welcome all your comments. I welcome all your phone calls, especially the ones that disagree. We believe that there are those 5 ACC members are not going to be ACC members in 2029, 2028. Virginia, North Carolina, Clemson, Florida State, and Miami. We could end up being completely wrong. But we don't think so. We don't think so. I'm itching to get to it here. There is another variable that has been thrown into all of this. And again, it favors the Southeastern Conference. It favors the Southeastern Conference to expand. It favors the SEC for more motivation to expand. So we are going to go through that today. No one else is talking about it. I don't think so. Maybe somebody else is, but we're going to talk about it here at College Football's Peek Around the Corner. Thank you all for coming on in. Again, I've never really done this. And I did this yesterday on the live show. I've never done this before, except for yesterday, and I'm going to do it again today. Going into yesterday, we were 8 subscribers away from 5,000. The most unpopular college football YouTube channel in the country is 8 subscribers away from 5,000. Going into yesterday. We are 6 away today. I put out a request for all of the PATC family members to reach out to the one friend that you might have and force them, bribe them, be kind to them. Get them to hit the subscribe button so we can see 5,000 at least once before the number goes tumbling down again. So, you all did that, and you reached 2 friends to hit the subscribe button. I need 6 more, guys. We need 6 more to hit 5,000. I don't expect us to stay there. I just want to get there one time. One time. And then half of you can unsubscribe. One time. I appreciate the effort. I appreciate the effort. AMAC is in the house. Kenneth Bowman is here. MBM, Flint Dog, 8208. David Capusta is in the house. 21, Bucket 21. The Walking Geek, Almighty Finn, Eric Phillips, AMAC. The Cornhusker, Skaven, yes, yes. Chad Bracey, Jonathan Price, the Buckeye Ramirez, Stephen McNeely, Tim Bales is in the house. Matt Neeson is here. The Architect, CFB Plus, Holy Smokes, Mr. Terrapin, D5 Terps, John Bennett, Rock Chalk, Jayhawk, Bimba, 75, 79, Wolverine Nation. Love Sports is here. Wow, I'm here live for once. Let's go Mountaineers. Stephen Clark is in the house. Case Struthers is here. The Cranky Tiger is in the house. Dante's Inferno Purgatory is here. Marketechs, go Bucks, down with big noon kickoff. Oh, here we go again. The Buckeyes are not happy. The Buckeyes are not happy. Bill G, good afternoon, Bill G. Larry the GM Longhorn, we are live. Yes, we are. The Big Gun Shop. What's up, Big Kahunas? Jay Chapman, no SEC expansion without North Carolina. I think that is like 90% true. 90% true. CFP Plus is in the house. Tumasta is here. Who else is here? Outlaw Skis. Tuffy Duffy 27. The Big Gun Shop. Saved by Grace. Bo Weevil. Go Clemson. S. Farmer. What's up, Greg? What's up, S. Farmer? Roman Maroney. Peter Shields. Nick Kelso. Chad Bracey. Christopher Marcato. The artist of PATC. Nick Kelso is here. David B is here. Doug watches the Iowa State Cyclones is in the house. Terry Kane, Mr. Hurricane. By the way, the Hurricanes, yes. We even heard Mario Cristobal's yelling from the ACC spring meetings all the way here in Minnesota. The Miami Hurricanes got the number 1 tackle in high school class. I think it's 2027, right? I'm not sure. We can take a look at it. But Mario Cristobal is at the ACC spring meetings, and all the reporters could hear him scream, celebrating the Hurricanes got the number 1 tackle, the number 1 player, I believe, in the high school class. Congratulations to the Hurricanes. The big Lubbock, Florida man, go Seminoles. Jeff Keyes is in the house. Jeff Keyes is in the house. Florida man, what do we got here? John Uzi is in the house. Jay Go Blue. Bong Mrs. is here. Check the subs again, Greg. I will. I think we need 6 more. Did we go down 1? Maybe we need 7. Replica. I thought about you last night. I was hoping you'd come in the chat room. Anyone up for a game of Capture the Flag, Cooper Flag? Wow. That was dramatic. Holy smokes. The Dallas Mavericks get the number 1 pick in the NBA draft. Now, Replica, when you call this show today or tomorrow, whenever you call next, whenever you got some time, I know this is a college football YouTube channel, but we do talk other sports a little bit and a little bit on UFOs. Replica, come on, man. You've got to draft Flag. Do not trade the pick. Don't get Giannis. Don't do it. Just get Flag. Don't trade the pick. Just get the guy. Get the guy on a rookie contract for 4 years. He's a very good player. He's a two-way player. He may never become as impactful as Anthony Davis or Giannis or whatever, right? But he's going to be at his floor. The floor is very, very, very high. Number 1. Teams are going to be offering the Mavericks, and I know there's going to be a sense of we've got a little bit of a window here, right? We got a little bit of a window here. If we get like some good players and trade that pick away, don't do it, Dallas. Don't do it, Replica. Don't do it. Just draft Flag. Keep it simple, stupid, Mavericks. Just draft the guy. I can't wait for your phone call on that. Who else is here? Stormy Cyclone. The Timberwolves must have been blessed by Pope Leo to avoid the Flugar curse. You got that right. You got that right, sir. The Minnesota Timberwolves are about to knock out the Warriors. They're going to be playing the Nuggets or the Thunder. It's all happening, baby. It's all happening. This studio is going to no longer sit in the middle of Loserville City, and I will no longer be your lovable loser mayor after the Ant-Man leads the Timberwolves to the NBA World Championship. Book it. Tiny Toon is in the house. Zach Mock is here. I got the keys. Keith Moore. AAR is in the house. Michael 19th C fan. Taylor Mott. Go Pokes. Go Pokes. Who else is here? I know I missed some people. I do apologize. O.T. Hicks Sr. I'm glad you came on here when we on live, O.T. Sr. Mr. E-Man. Go Gators. Preston from Greensboro, North Carolina. Don't draft a Dookie. Draft a Dookie. Draft a Dookie. Don't listen to the Tar Heel. Draft a Dookie. Bob Swanger is in the house. Jerry is here. Donald Duck. Cougar Tracks. Carlton Hurdle. Coos Corner. The great Coos Corner is in the house. Okay. Thanks for all for joining us. Long roll call. And we've got a Ryan Wille statement. Ryan Wille statement. Greg, people here have selective hearing. This unpopular evil badger out. I don't know what that pertains to. Hopefully it's not about me personally. If it is, I do apologize. Ryan Willie, I do apologize if I mistook what you said, but you said people, maybe you're talking about the PATC family. I do not know. But if there is something that I can do to rectify it, let me know, Ryan Willie, because you are a very important family member. So I don't want you to say the unpopular evil badger out. I want you to say the evil badger is in and you are popular. So maybe you're having a disagreement with some of the family members in the chat room. That happens every day. That happens every day, every single day. Greg, is 2025 the year of the Loserville? The Timberwolves just setting the stage for Greg? Nah. Nope. They are not setting the stage for Greg the Gold. You're talking about me being having a broken heart? My heart's not getting broken. Not this time. My heart is wide open. I've spread out the rib cage. The enlarged heart of the fat guy from Minnesota, full of scars and wounds. I've all healed up, baby. I've all healed up. This is it. For the first time in a long time, since 1991, a men's professional Minnesota team is going to win the world championship. Let's go. What is this 5,000? How did I hit 5,000? I was 6 away. I'd never get 6 like that. Holy smokes. My goodness, we're at 5,000, ladies and gentlemen. Holy moly. Holy moly. The most unpopular YouTube channel in the country just got 5,000. I want to thank we've got a stacked show. We are going to get to it. I promise. I apologize. But we've been sitting on the edge for 5,000 for like 6 months. And then every time we get close to it, I get a whole bunch of people upset. The subscribers go way down. But that's who we are here at Peek Around the Corner. Thank you guys so very much. I'm very humbled. Very, very humbled. Thank you Okay, enough celebration. It's going to take us another 6 months to get to 5,020. 5,020. So let's get to it. A lot of work. Thank you, Stephen McNeely. I appreciate it. You guys must have bribed 6 people while we started the show. I don't know how you guys did it, but thank you for getting your wives and your daughters and sons to quickly subscribe so we can have one magical moment. Stephen McNeely, thank you so much for your generosity, for your friendship. Appreciate it so very much. Thank you so very much. Preston from Greensboro, I'm fixing to unsubscribe. I get it. Look, we're probably going to end up, at the end of this show, we're probably going to end up with a lower number than what we started. But the mission was to get to 5,000 before I died. Somebody take a picture of it. Now we're good. We're good to go. You can unsubscribe, Preston, but I do appreciate all the time you spend with us, all your comments, and in your super chats. Thank you so much, my friend. I appreciate it. Appreciate the incredible generosity. Jimmy sends a membership to Bacon Edits. Holy smokes. Bacon Edits with the membership, Jimmy. Thank you so very much for all your generosity, all your gifted memberships over the days, month, over the last year. Jimmy, Mr. Duck, Mr. Oregon Duck, and Bacon Edits, you are officially knighted, cloak and dagger. Bacon, when you get an opportunity, please say thank you to the Duck for his generosity and getting a membership, gifted membership. Go to our YouTube channel and check out all the episodes, all of them available to you all. Greg, is your cabin burning down up north? Nope. Thank you, O.T. Hicks Sr. Appreciate it. I do appreciate the kind words. We are the most unpopular college football YouTube channel in the country, but for whatever reason, there is enough for you college football sickos to keep us going here at Peek Around the Corner. So for the people who understand this show for what it is, we take what we do seriously, but we do not take ourselves too seriously. If you get used to it, then it's okay. Even my singing becomes tolerable as long as you know I do not take myself too seriously. Thank you so much for the kind words, O.T. Hicks Sr., Jimmy, Preston from Greensboro, Stephen McNeely, Tony, Tough Tony. Thank you, Tough Tony. Thank you, Mr. Gopher. Appreciate it, my friend. Tough Gopher Tony, asking tough Gopher questions. And I rarely have a good answer for him. I rarely have a good answer for Tough Tony. Okay, let's get to it. We got a lot to get to. I'm checking my notes. I tell you what, man. I love the hustle on this. I love the hustle what ESPN did. Let me show you guys something here. They are ranking the offseason. So this is not a power ranking. This is how well you did among other programs, football programs within your conference during the offseason. Retention of key non-draft eligible players, retention of key coaches or staff upgrades, player additions primarily through the transfer portal, but also high school recruits. Okay? That is the metrics that they are using. We're only going to go through the ACC because we got a lot to get to today. But these rankings absolutely shook me. And I'm very interested to see what you guys got to say about this. Clemson, number 1. Okay? Key additions, they got Will Help, Purdue, Tristan Smith, Jeremiah Alexander. They're going to be losing Phil Maffa, right? Gideon Davidson. Remember the name, Gideon Davidson. Remember the name, true freshman running back, and he blew up the Clemson spring football camp. He was a monster. Gideon Davidson was a monster. Remember the name. Please remember the name. Davidson, opening week, Gideon Davidson. So Clemson is number 1 in the ACC when it comes to offseason. Interesting. I don't know if I would have them at number 1. This is not power rankings. This is how you did during the offseason. Okay. Number 2, we're not going to spend a whole lot of time on this. Number 2, the Miami Hurricanes. Now, I think they did outstanding because they got Carson Beck. And I'm a big Carson Beck guy. One of the big coaching moves that they got was Corey Heatherman from the Minnesota Golden Gophers, defensive coordinator. That was a big move for Miami. We watched it. We watched the Hurricanes excel on offense. We saw all that. If they had a defense that had a pulse, Miami would have been in that ACC championship game. They would have probably won the thing. They would have been a threat in the playoffs, but their defense did not have a pulse. Something that we noticed here at Peek Around the Corner early in the season, and I mean really early, that secondary was completely lost. Completely lost on the football field. Miami number 2. I'll go a little bit quicker here. I do apologize. Number 3, the Duke Blue Devils. Again, Darren Mensah, huge pickup. Huge pickup. Yes, and then they got Chris Foster, Northwestern's running back coach. Somebody that the Minnesota Golden Gophers had interested in. I think it was last year. But the Duke Blue Devils got themselves Chris Foster, number 3 on the list. Number 4, the Florida State Seminole Wind, Tommy Castellanos, the quarterback. Key addition, Deuce Robinson. Now, I've been spending the offseason not really excited about the USC transfers, wide receiver transfers going to the other schools. Like Zachariah Branch, I think he's going to disappoint at Georgia, to be honest. Kyron Hudson, he's pretty good, but not great. But this guy, Deuce Robinson, this guy can play. Big addition for the Seminoles. But Gus Malzahn on offense and Tony White on defense, I would put Florida State number 1 or number 2 when it comes to the offseason maneuvers. Right with Miami. I would not have Clemson at number 1. I do have Clemson number 1 in the conference, but we're talking about the offseason. I would have Florida State right up there with Miami. Tony White is going to do a hell of a job year 1 in Tallahassee. Tony White is the real deal Holyfield. I saw him take a very soft Cornhuskers defense 3 years ago, and he turned that unit around. Tony White, I've got all the respect in the world for Tony White. And Gus Malzahn, he's got a good offensive mind. We'll see what happens. But the Florida State Seminoles, number 4, I would have them number 1 or number 2. Let me go quicker here. The Virginia Cavaliers, Chandler Morris. Again, what is he in year 6? Year 7? We'll see how he does. Virginia, number 5. Tony Elliott's got to have a good year this year to keep his job. The Louisville Cardinals, I would have them at number 3 or number 2. I believe they had a fantastic offseason. You're talking about Miller Moss. I think he's the perfect fit for the Louisville Cardinals. I've already expressed my love of Louisville. That is the team that I have fallen in love with for 2025. The Georgia Tech Yellow Jackets. The rambling wreck of Georgia Tech, number 7 on the list. Key departures, they lost Eric Singleton to the Auburn Tigers. That is going to hurt. And they lost their defensive coordinator to the NFL. That is going to hurt. Number 8, SMU Mustangs. Brashard Smith, the really good running back of last year, he is gone. Number 8, SMU. Number 9, the Pittsburgh Panthers. Mumfield, after transferring from Akron a couple years ago, goes to the Pittsburgh Panthers, had a really good success there. He is gone. Number 9, Pittsburgh Panthers. Number 10, Virginia Tech Hokies. Number 11, North Carolina State Wolfpack. They lost Kevin Concepcion. Number 12, the North Carolina Tar Heels. Now, Gio Lopez, the transfer quarterback, South Alabama, but they lost Bo Atkinson. They also lost the linebacker, the great linebacker. So they've lost some guys here on Bill Belichick. Number 13, the Boston College Eagles. Number 13. Number 14, the Syracuse Orange, Steve Angeli. I'm excited about Steve Angeli. Wearing the Syracuse Orange, I think he's got a great chance. They did lose their top receiver, Pena. He's gone to the Penn State Nittany Lions. And of course, they lost Kyle McCord to the NFL draft, LaQuint Allen. Number 15, the Wake Forest Demon Deacons. Number 16, California Golden Bears. They lost Fernando Mendoza and Jaden Ott. When you lose those two guys, when they're playing somewhere else, you are going to be rated 16 out of 17. And then finally, the Stanford Cardinal. Troy Taylor's firing in late March rocked the Stanford program ahead of his 3rd season as head coach. Andrew Luck. They got an interim head coach for 1 season, Frank Reich, and then they're going to be looking for a new quarterback. Turmoil at Stanford. Terrible offseason for the California Bears. But some of those programs had a really good offseason. Miami Hurricanes. Carson Beck is going to have a great season. Louisville, great offseason. Fantastic offseason, in my opinion. So, anyways, there it is. Put down your comments and thoughts in the comments section below the video. Let me know. Let me know what you think about those rankings, ESPN, when it comes to the offseason for those ACC programs. Let's get to this now. This article, this situation with the Sports Broadcasting Act of 1961, all the political minutia, all the political maneuvers, all the cloak and dagger, I'm going to give you a little hint, a little wink. It all ties into the little bit of change that we made inside the Holy Smokes Theater. that we are going to get to at the end of the monologue before we get to your phone calls. Andy Staples on 3. How a presidential committee and a 64-year-old law could be the key to the next era of college football. Other than two very interesting names, Saban, Cody Campbell, we don't know much about the College Sports Committee being created by President Donald Trump will do. Presumably, this is because the committee hasn't even been fully populated yet. So no one knows how it will ultimately will function. But one of those names has been fairly specific about how the future of college sports should be shaped. And it's not the GOAT coach, not the greatest of all time coach, who was the breakout new star of a popular TV show, Nick Saban. Saban has spoken in abstract about creating a framework to manage the NIL era, but Cody Campbell, has written multiple times about what he'd like the federal government to do. The federal government to do. Perhaps the most intriguing piece of Campbell's plan involves a 64-year-old piece of legislation that could hold the key to two diametrically opposed outcomes sitting on the knife's edge. This thing could go either way. In an op-ed published in the Federalist in April, Campbell explained how the Sports Broadcasting Act of 1961 could be used to create a framework that could bridge the old, fairly inclusive system of college sports with an era of even bigger TV dollars, which also could be shared with the players. The act also could be used to create the Super League that Campbell hopes to avoid. That could make these next few months very critical to the coming years. So the Sports Broadcasting Act of 1961 could be used to create the framework in which bigger money, bigger TV dollar money is going to be coming to everybody. Well, everybody in the Autonomous Four, according to Cody Campbell's and others' plan. But that could be used for something quite different. The SBA, the Sports Broadcasting Act of 1961, is an antitrust exemption that allows teams in professional sports leagues such as the NFL, the NBA, the National Basketball Association, and the Major League Baseball to pool their television rights so the league may act as a single seller. That's the key. The SBA, we're going to call it the SBA from now on, instead of keep saying Sports Broadcasting Act. The SBA, if you get that approval, if you get that antitrust exemption, that means within college football, you can bundle up, schools can get together and bundle up, not just per conference, but bundle up their pools and be a single seller, one umbrella, to where now you have more leverage in those media negotiations, and in theory, get more money coming to all the schools that are under that umbrella. That is Campbell's hope. That is his hope. And according to an op-ed, it is a congressional action that would add college sports to the SBA of 1961. Okay? That could make more money per school than anyone could make in the current environment. However, However, Campbell is a former Texas Tech lineman, current chair of the Texas Tech Board of Regents. He and partner John Sellers in February sold an oil and gas assets for about $4 billion. Campbell is smart enough to know that. Used another way, adding college sports to the SBA could pave the way for a super league of several dozen schools that would essentially punt everyone else toward the FCS level. The SBA, in other words, is the ultimate double-edged sword. There's more to the article, but we don't have to get more to the article. I will provide a link. You could read the whole thing. But this SBA, the Sports Broadcasting Act of 1961, of college sports, in which Cody Campbell wants college sports to be added to that antitrust exemption, to be included into the SBA 1961. That could be the cure-all, right? That could make it where the Big 12, the ACC, the SEC, and the Big 10 all pool their content together. They pool all their content together and they sell it on the open market as a single seller. The four horsemen, ACC, Big 12, SEC, the Big 10. We're not talking Tully Blanchard, Arn Anderson, Barry Windham, and the Nature Boy Ric Flair. We are talking the four horsemen of the ACC, Big 10, SEC, and the Big 12. They could sell themselves, bundle up their content, and sell it in theory, give them more leverage, get them more money. However, the problem with that is, if that gets established, the Sports Broadcasting Act of 1961, if college sports gets included into the antitrust exemption, that opens up the possibility of the SEC and the Big 10 pooling their content together and having those two sell their content as one seller. They can't do that now. They can't. They can try, but then people are going to go after them because they don't have that. They're going to be. It's going to be considered bullying. It's going to be considered. If you go through the article, more to the article, it's just not. They're not going to do it. Not without the antitrust exemption. But if this gets passed, this is what Cody Campbell and others want. You need this for a 72 Super League, a 72 team Super League. You need this to pass. A 60-team Super League. You need this. You need to get the antitrust exemption through congressional action. But also, for the Big 10 and the SEC to do their breakaway, to go through on their threat, they need this to pass. They want that exemption for those who are thinking about doing a breakaway. So I'm just warning everybody. This is the almighty double-edged sword. Do you really want SBA to include college sports? Let me know what you think in the comment section or with your phone calls. Mowing After Dark. Let's have a 5,000 calorie quadruple bypass bacon cheeseburger to celebrate, washed down with 5 double brownie chocolate cakes from Steak and Shake. Get Pflugar. Oh my goodness. No! Thank you so much, Mo. And I tell you what, I will do all that. I will do all of that, but you got to get rid of the cheese. You've got to get rid of the cheese. But I'll have that bacon. I'll have the bacon burger. Bacon burger, lettuce, tomato, mayo, mustard. And of course, I'll do the, I can't really do the shakes either. But I'll do the burger. I will do the burger. I will do the burger. Hold on one second here. Moen, thank you so much. Thank you so much for your generosity, for your super chat, helping us keep the lights on here. Thank you so very much. I am interested to hear what Moen After Dark has to say about this SBA. I'm sure they're going to tackle it in their live shows coming up here. This is what Cody Campbell wants. Kind of, sort of, maybe, possibly. But let me tie this into the Holy Smokes Theater. Because it does what is going on politically, or what is about to happen politically. And I'm not just talking about for the next year. I'm talking about for the next 10 years. Is also playing a part of what is going on in the Holy Smokes Theater. Let me fix something up here. Shakes are delicious, but I do have issues with milk. Let's just put it that way. I will do a shake, chocolate shake, but we got to use almond milk. Thank you, Moen. I appreciate the kindness, the super chat. Thank you so very much. Pete Rose is now eligible for the Hall of Fame. Again, a lot of people are going to disagree. I've talked about this before in this live show. I thought he should have been made eligible when he was alive. I think Major League Baseball should have given him grace. You know, I get it. What he done could have really hurt Major League Baseball. Could have. But it didn't. And that is why I think grace should have been given to him. I am old enough to remember watching Pete Rose, the Cincinnati Reds. I actually remember the 1975 World Series. Boston Red Sox, Cincinnati Reds, Pete Rose, George Foster, Joe Morgan, Johnny Bench, Concepcion, my brain is gone. They had a pitcher, Don Goulet, whatever his name was. Whatever. Pete Rose was in sensational. I mean, he is a Hall of Famer. What they should have done. Tony Perez, God. How could I forget Tony Perez? Wow, that's terrible. I'm losing it. Mr. RBI man, Tony Perez. I apologize. Holy smokes. What I believe what they should have done is they should have went to Pete Rose and said, you are eligible to be voted on in the Hall of Fame But when you are in, because you're going to get voted in by the veterans if you're eligible, when you are voted in your plaque, there has to be a mention of what transpired. And I think Pete Rose would have taken the deal. But now that he's passed away, they don't want to punish him anymore. Shoeless Joe Jackson, Pete Rose, both of them should be going in the Hall of Fame real soon. And yes, Jason Tatum, terrible news. Absolutely terrible. I don't know. Have they announced what his injury is yet? Is it his Achilles? I have not seen any official announcement. I have not heard of any official announcement. Ken Griffey Sr. wasn't on those teams, I don't think. I don't think he was. I might be wrong. Okay. Let's get to it. Curtis, thank you so much, Curtis. Mr. Michigan Wolverine. If the Big Ten and the SEC were to combine content, should the 1961 antitrust exemption passes, it would be huge. Why then would they bring the ACC and the Big 12 just to profit off the Big Ten and the SEC? They shouldn't. Well, and they won't. That's the point. Last year, the year before, and people were talking about how there's going to be a P2, there's going to be a Power 2. The Big Ten and the SEC are going to break away from everybody. And I kept saying, yeah, that could happen, but it can't happen in 2025. It can't happen in 2026. But it could happen 4 or 5 years from now. I'm not in favor of it, of course. I'm not. Absolutely, I'm not. I think, personally, that would not benefit me, the college football fan, at all. However, taking that aside, one of the reasons why it wasn't possible to happen in 25 and 26 is because of the SBA 1961 Act, that they weren't going to get congressional approval. And the chances of them getting... Okay, let's go into the Holy Smokes Theater. Let's go into the Holy Smokes Theater. AMAC says it's not happening. It is a torn Achilles. He's already had surgery. Wow, I did not know that. I was working on this show. And... man. How old is he? He's not that old. Boy, I do not like that. Curtis, thank you so much for the super chat. Very much appreciated. Again, but if all that happened, if there was an antitrust exemption... and if the Big Ten and the SEC went on their way and pooled their content together, they would be separate from the ACC and the Big 12. Let's go into the Holy Smokes Theater, and I'm going to tackle this, Curtis. Thank you for the super chat. Appreciate it. Couple things. I have to believe, and it does say it in the article, that there just would not be enough congressional support. You would not be able to get 60 senators. We'll go back in the Holy Smokes Theater. You need 60 senators for college sports to get the antitrust exemption for SBA. You're not going to get 60 senators. You are not going to get 60 senators unless there is language in there that includes the ACC and the Big 12 schools. At least it might have to include even the G5 for there to be a possibility that there could be a single seller to the media companies. Now, let's say they get 60 senators, and let's say there's language in there that the single seller has to include at least 75 schools or 72 schools or something like that to effect. So that would keep the Big Ten and the SEC splitting away from everybody. If you got that done, it still would not force the SEC and the Big Ten to incorporate themselves with the Big 12, the ACC, and possibly G6 to become a single seller of your content. It just would open up the possibility, and if you want to go down that route of a single seller at the highest level, Division I, scholarship, you gotta incorporate at least 72, 75, whatever. If you include the Big Ten and the SEC, let me see if I can find this here. There it is. The Big Ten and the SEC have schools in 26 states. That's only 52 senators. And you're not going to have everybody fall in line of those 52 senators either. So the Big Ten and the SEC do not have enough political power to get an SBA voted on, passed, in my belief. Okay, having said all of that, they are close. Here we go. We're going to go in the Holy Smokes Theater. Here we go. Lou, I agree with you. Lou says senators aren't going to agree to let public universities worth hundreds of billions out in the cold regardless of political affiliation. I agree. They've got the SEC and the Big Ten's got a whole lot of power, right? There is every single indication that the next big disruption, the SEC, especially the Southeastern Conference, wants to have more political power. Every indication, every chatter behind the curtain, Sankey wants more political power. This isn't directly about the SBA, although that could be something years from now, but this is about everything. Everything. They want more political power. The Big Ten is in multiple regions, 3 regions of the country. They've got senators all over the country, different places, blue states, red states, purple states. They've got a lot of political power. The SEC wants more political power. They want Virginia and North Carolina to become SEC states. They want to get closer to the federal government, more political power. This is a metric that a whole lot of people are not talking about, but it is reality. It is. The SEC wants to widen their footprint, not just in media markets. not just diverse student population, not just international population, student connection with international students. They want a bigger bandwidth on political power. Sankey has been up the Capitol Hill many, many, many times. There are going to be, ladies and gentlemen, again, I'm not talking directly about SBA right now. I'm talking in general. The SEC has accumulated power along with the Big Ten when it comes to college sports. There's about to be an A4 governance where they're going to rule over the top division of college athletics. The SEC has going to be, they're spending a lot of money on their academic branding going on right now. They're labeling the SEC, the Southeastern Conference, is labeling their medical conventions, some sort of nursing convention, these consortiums under the Southeastern Conference schools, they're labeling it as SEC. They're putting more and more and more money into the SEC academic research, branding, and marketing. They've accumulated more power in athletics, more power in research, and now they want to accumulate more power in politics. They want to get into North Carolina and Virginia. That is another reason why the SEC is targeting North Carolina and Virginia. Population growth, more and more congressional seats in those two states in the future, yada, 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 yada. Now, people say, Greg, you shouldn't be talking politics. Politics plays a part in all of this. It's not the overriding factor. It's not the override. There's a lot of other important things, more important things, but it's playing a part in this. The Southeastern Conference is trying to secure their gains. They want to make sure they protect themselves. They're not necessarily going for a breakaway, and I don't think they are. Even though they've talked about it with the Big Ten and they've sort of, leveraged that idea. But they're trying to protect their gains because there are forces opposite of the SEC that they're going, like Cody Campbell, Super League, Jack Swarbrick, those forces are against the SEC. Like I said, we had a live show last week or the week before, said that the Big Ten is under attack. And I said during that live show, I said, I don't blame the hustle on the other side. I don't blame this attempt. But let's call it what it is. It's the great pushback. The SEC has been pushing on them. The Big Ten has been pushing on them. And now they're doing the big pushback. And the SEC wants more political power. They want more diversity in their conference. Okay. So, thank you for the super chat, Curtis. I appreciate it so very much. Going back in the theater here. Before we get to your phone calls, I want to make this perfectly clear, even though it's going to be misreported on what I said. It's just going to be misreported, and that's fine. Number one, even though we're in the Holy Smokes Theater, once again, for an update, on Tuesday, May 13th, we did this for the Big 12 situation, poaching the Pac-12. Colorado was at the center of the stage. They were at the center of the stage for months. And then, of course, they were the trigger point, right? On July 27th, it happened. We had all We had Notre Dame, we had Miami, Florida State, Clemson, Virginia, North Carolina, all of them up on the stage during the last update. Number one, we don't believe anything is imminent. We don't even think there is a chance of anything being imminent. We really don't. No movement. We really don't believe it's going to happen. We don't think there's going to be any school filing a notice of withdrawal before or on August 15th of this year. However, that could change. If we get some chatter, we'll talk about it. We'll change our reporting of it. But right now, it has been consistent for months. Even after the major victory of Florida State and Clemson, all the word we've got is not yet, not now, too many things going on. Number one, nothing is imminent. Number two, the changing, bringing Miami, Florida State, Clemson, and Notre Dame back on the first row does not change what we believe ultimately is going to happen for those universities. The chances of us being 100% correct is very small. But one of the reasons why you come on this live show, you want the peek around the corner, we're giving you our best shot. For everything that we have heard, and some doors are completely closed to us. Some doors has been opened to us. There are schools that are not on your picture right now that are making big time attempts to try to get on that first row, up in on that stage. But we believe with some level of certainty, else we will not be doing this, we think those universities listed are going to eventually find a home outside of the ACC in the Power 2 by 27 or 28. The reason why we only have Virginia and North Carolina once again standing on the stage, and let me be perfectly clear, we still believe they're the number one targets for the SEC. We believe the SEC has more interest in expansion than the Big Ten, although the Big Ten would love to get North Carolina. We think they're on the outside on that. We shall see. But we believe when the wall finally cracks, when the silence goes away, when we finally get more reporting or speculation from national reporters, and I think it's going to happen right after this House NCAA settlement is official, and when this Florida State Clemson AC settlement is official, when all that is official, I think we're going to get some reporting on some activity. Nothing is imminent about anything really happening officially, but we're going to get reporting on activities. In that reporting, we have reasons to believe that reporting is going to center around the Southeastern Conference being most interested in Virginia and North Carolina. Once again, we reported that on June 15th last year. And then we got major reporting in August from national reporters. Now, we happen to believe, at peek around the corner, that Clemson and Florida State cannot be allowed to be dangling out there. We think they're going to be included in this new transformative SEC conference. We do not believe the SEC and ESPN are going to allow Florida State and Clemson to be out there. So there's a very good chance, and I've said this over and over and over again, that all four of those schools go to the SEC in a major, large, big scoop. And that is, I believe, is the major disruption that is going to happen next. We have heard many people. I do not have a list. Maybe I should start a list. We've had many coaches, athletic directors, reporters over the last 3 years. They keep talking about, oh, there's going to be another major disruption, and it's going to be bigger than the one before, or it could be. And, oh, by the way, we think that there is going to be like 3 conferences, or they're going to go to 20 schools, or Jack Swarbrick said we think the SEC is going to go to 20 and the Big Ten will be somewhere between 20 and 24. I mean, every single one of these guys, Kyle Whittingham, all of them are saying the same thing without really going into the details. And I think the big part of it is, I think they're all catching the same information, and that is the SEC, once all this is settled, once all this is done, once the House NCAA settlement happens, once they get a 9-game conference, once they get more money from ESPN, once they get the college football playoff format pounded into the stakes into the ground where it's 16 teams and they get 4 out of it. When all of these things happen, the SEC is going to be motivated to expand the conference, and it's just going to happen. It's just going to happen. The SEC is not going to allow the Big Ten to come snaking in and to grab the big 2 large universities, growing populations, flagship North Carolina, Virginia, and then have the Big Ten potentially change their mind on a Florida State Seminoles. Let me get to something here real quick. Let me clear something up. So what does this holy smokes update all about? The last major update was on April 8th. What we believe was going to be the result of everything that is going to happen in the next 18 to 24 months. But I wanted to scale it down today. We are in the middle of the ACC meetings. I have reasons to believe there's going to be some speculation reporting out there on what the next disruption is going to look like. I do not believe that we are going to continue to get the reporting that we got yesterday from the Sports Business Journal saying the ACC have secured their membership all the way to 2030, 31, or beyond. Remember we did a live show yesterday on that reporting? I don't think we're going to get that type of reporting here real soon. I think the reporting is going to be around, well, nothing is imminent. A lot of work has to be done. The Big Ten ain't quite there. The SEC, they want to be cautious. All that stuff, right? I think you're going to get reporting that ACC teams are programs. They're active in some of those programs, trying to get out. We know that is absolutely true. And then we think the initial reporting after the walls of silence vanishes and these reporters are able to speculate out in the open. I think a lot of it first is going to circle around Virginia and North Carolina. We got a whisper of that. John Wilner's article at the beginning of May, when he came out and said, look, North Carolina is the piece that the SEC wants. I think people are going to start bringing that up again. And again, none of this is imminent. There's a whole lot of work to be done. So I wanted to scale this update down to what we think is going to get reported on next. Not actually what happens next, because what happens next, it ain't going to happen for a while. And we made it perfectly clear what we think ultimately is going to happen. We said it on the April live show. Clemson, Florida State, North Carolina, Virginia to the SEC, Miami to the Big Ten, and then Notre Dame's going to have to make a choice. And eventually we think they're going to go to the Big Ten. We are not going to step away from that. We are not going to change that. Not until we get information that alters what we believe. And we haven't yet. Okay? So let's go to your phone calls. That is the update. The walls of silence is going to crumble pretty soon. People are going to start reporting their speculation immediately. We have reasons to believe immediately after these settlements get done. The House NCAA and the Florida State Clemson. I asked the question on X. Has the ACC Florida State Clemson ESPN settlement been completed yet? Have all the T's been crossed? Have all the I's been dotted? If it has, it hasn't been reported that it's been completed. So again, there are so many things that have to get done before the true work on whatever the next disruption is going to look like. Okay, let's get to your phone calls. I appreciate you all joining us. If you haven't subscribed yet, how dare you? Subscribe to the channel. Smash the like button if you like our content. Share the video with your family and friends. There are rumors in the chat room that we finally got to 5,000. It would be nice if we didn't dip below 5,000 just because I got a whole lot of you upset with me once again. So please subscribe and then have your notifications turned on, because we will cover all the breaking news that's going to happen in the month of May, the month of June, as we head towards the college football season of 2025. When you give us a call, you can talk about anything in college football that your heart desires. We talked football at the beginning of the monologue. We talked about ESPN's ACC rankings of what they accomplished during the offseason. I agreed with some of it. I disagreed with some of it. You can talk about that. You can talk about anything you want. The phone lines are now open. 763-260-1333. 763-260-1333. The lines are now open. This is the notable college football week 0 and week 1 matchups. Thank you, John Grove, for sending this to me. Thank you for keeping your head on a swivel. Iowa State, Kansas State. We knew about that. Dublin, Ireland. Thursday, August 28th. Boise State at South Florida. 4:30 Eastern Time, ESPN. Guy, I cannot wait to August 28th. I can't wait to August 23rd. Iowa State, Kansas State. Nebraska, Cincinnati. 8 o'clock, 9 o'clock Eastern Time. ESPN. Georgia Tech, Rambling Wreck of Georgia Tech, Colorado. Friday, August 29th. Oh boy, I think I'm going to do that game. I think we're going to be doing a watch party. Haynes King, Colorado. Jamal Haynes, Georgia Tech, Colorado. Syracuse and Tennessee. Saturday, August 30th. Alabama, Florida State. Can the Seminoles get the major upset week one? I think the line on that game is, 12.5? The LSU Tigers. Hold my Tiger. LSU versus Clemson. I think LSU is going to start the season 0-1 once again, but they're going to climb back into the college football playoff spot. That is a big, big, big game. You got Mr. Sellers versus Mr. Drones, the Hokies versus the Gamecocks, Sunday night, August 31st. I'm sorry, Sunday afternoon. My bad. Sunday afternoon. Then Notre Dame and Miami Sunday night. And I might have to do a back-to-back watch parties. Sunday, August 31st. PATC led the country in watch parties last year. We're going to lead it again this year. Join us for the watch parties. They're a lot of fun. The Hokies, the Gamecocks, the Irish, and the Hurricanes. We'll have our scoreboard, chalkboard right up here once again. And then Monday night football. Bill Belichick, Dykes, the Horned Frogs, the Tar Heels. Holy smokes. All games on ESPN or ABC. Now, if that doesn't fire you up, what is wrong with you? What is wrong with you? Ryan Brooks, the cooler, just gave us our win. It's not the cooler this year, Ryan. It ain't the cooler. But you should not want me to be the cooler because I got LSU in the playoffs. I got the LSU Tigers, number 6 seed. I got them going against the Oregon Ducks, first round. I got the game being played, Death Valley, LSU. I just have LSU losing that first game. I got them losing another SEC game. I think I got them going 9-3, getting the 6th seed. LSU Tigers will not be denied. Not this year. Brian Kelly's going to get it done. He's going to save his job. But they are going to lose week 1. Yes, they are. Absolutely. Craig the Freezer. Craig, can you talk whether or not joining the BTAA is an issue for Stanford? It probably is. It probably is. It probably is. And I don't know. I do not think that is the death knell of the Stanford Big Ten candidacy. But with that, and along with other things that go against Stanford, it's an issue for Stanford. I think it's a bigger issue for Stanford than it is for the Big Ten, but we'll see. We'll see. It is an issue, though, for Stanford. No question about it. Jeff Morgan, looking forward to seeing the watch parties. I can't wait. Thank you, Jeff Morgan. Thank you for the kind words. Appreciate it. Very much appreciate it. I like the Athlon magazine. It's easy to read. I like things that are easy to read. Your host, the moron from Minnesota. I need things to be easy to read. Pre-ordering my Lindsay Sports College Football Preseason May. Doc Gibbs says UNC Chapel Hill will not exit unilaterally to the SEC without North Carolina State. This is locked by UNC Board of Governors and authority. Either UNC puts North Carolina State both or they neither go. We shall see, Mr. Gibbs. It's definitely not written into the law, Board of Governors. Basically, the Board of Governors, you need to have their approval for North Carolina to agree to any change in conference affiliation. You have to present a financial plan to the Board of Governors for them to look at it and to approve it. Which means that North Carolina and the UNC Chapel Hill have to make sure that North Carolina State doesn't get left behind financially. But I don't believe they have to go to the same conference together. Now, some people disagree with me on that. So we're going to find out together what happens. But I don't think they are joined, they're locked, they're tied at the hip. But North Carolina State has a lot of power. It's not going to be where North Carolina is going to go to the SEC, and it's not going to be of any cost to North Carolina. But the benefits is going to outweigh the cost, just like UCLA. There's a certain cost for UCLA to join the Big Ten. They got a calamity tax, they got extra travel expenditures, but even when you add all that together, it's a benefit to UCLA. I believe the same thing is going to happen here with North Carolina. Curtis, if Notre Dame turns the Big Ten down, which I doubt, with 5 of the longtime rivals making more money every year, Notre Dame loses Florida State, Clemson, Miami games, don't fulfill their NBC contract, Notre Dame has no choice. I believe this to be, they're going to have a choice, but I don't think, if the ACC collapses, in other words, not totally collapse, but if the ACC loses their top 5 or 6 brands, and I think they eventually will, I don't know how the ACC serves Notre Dame enough for them to be able to maintain their college football independence. Now, they've already lost part of their college football independence. They don't have complete control over their entire schedule, right? They have 5 games with the ACC. That's been going on for years. So they're not completely independent anyways. They've had to give up some of their independence. And we think they're going to have to give up more of it, and eventually it's going to go away. Notre Dame did sign a good deal with Clemson. Notre Dame and Clemson are going to be playing every single year to 2038. So that is going to help Notre Dame's home football schedule. Notre Dame has a lot of big-time programs locked in on their scheduling for many, 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 many years. But if Clemson goes to the SEC, are they going to maintain that deal with Notre Dame? Because those scheduling deals are they're the easiest ones to break. Those type of deals get broken all the time. Could that one change? I don't know. We're going to find out. Florida State, are they going to be playing Notre Dame every single year if they join the SEC? We'll see. Miami, join the Big Ten. And then the big one that people don't talk about enough is the pressure on Notre Dame when it comes to their Olympic teams, their other sports. If the ACC loses a North Carolina, if they lose a Virginia, if they lose a Florida State, a Clemson, and a Miami, we'll find out together about Notre Dame. But they're definitely not going to be the first ones to pull the trigger. We don't think they're going to be the second, third, fourth one to pull the trigger. even though they have the power to do so. But it's not going to happen. It's North Carolina is at the center of the stage because there is the interest, they have the power, but they got a lot of work ahead of them. They got a lot of work ahead of them. The BO, thank you, Curtis. Thank you so much for your super chat, for your generosity. I very much appreciate it. Yes, the Board of Governors have the authority. Yes, they do. I agree with that, Doc Gibbs. The North Carolina system, the Board of Governors, Peter Hands and the 24 members, they were proactive. They were able to get the conference affiliation power under them. Unlike the California Board of Regents, where they try to do it ex post facto after the case. But again, I believe, a lot of people believe, the reality is, if North Carolina submits a financial plan to the Board of Governors, and North Carolina has an opportunity to become a Power 2 program, to either join the Big Ten or the SEC, because they're going to get offers from both of them if North Carolina gives Sankey and Petiti both the opportunity to have offers to them. The reality is going to be North Carolina is going to send a financial plan to the Board of Governors, and if it says the big old 3 letters, SEC, and if the Board of Governors got a financial plan where North Carolina State's going to make even more money on top of the gambling revenue, are the Board of Governors really politically going to stop a North Carolina public school from joining the SEC or the Big Ten? There's going to be a political cost to that as well if they deny North Carolina. Keep that in mind.
Call from
Jose, fight on.
Jose, Mr. USC Trojan. What's going on, sir? I haven't heard from you for ages. Thanks for calling, sir. The floor is yours.
My pleasure. Thank you for having me on Go for Godfather. Yeah, we're wheeling and dealing. We got like over 30 commitments already, and hopefully we're going to get as many signed as possible. I mean, we got so many 4-stars and 5-stars coming in. It's hard to keep up with the names that are just rolling in. We're putting up a fence in California and warding off the Crimson Tide and the Dogs and the Ducks, and we're setting up shop. And we're reclaiming California again, and that's what's getting it done. We're taking it back to the old Pete Carroll playbook days.
The Trojans are putting up a fence. They're putting up a wall around Southern California. Are you hearing that, PATC Sickles? Go ahead, Jose. Continue on.
Yeah. You guys can try all you want, but we reestablished the
We're going to try.
Yeah. We got the modern day pipeline back again.
Gophers are going to walk in there and steal all your players. How about them apples?
No. Chad Bowden's got something to say about that. He came in from Notre Dame, and he's been working his magic. And through some kind of NIL licensing agreement with the high school in modern day, they've now got a link to USC directly. And that's all I could say about that. But we're choosing the best and the finest once again from California, the best play from California at USC, and that's what we're reestablishing once again.
Well, thank God we avoid you guys this year, so I don't have to worry about you Trojans this year.
Yeah, well, I mean, it might take a year or two for these young kids to get developed. Yep. But Jade Mayava is just playing lights out right now. His arm has always been strong.
Yep.
That's nothing that's ever been a concern. It's just been his decision making is now twitch. It's trigger fast. He's really making the reads now and figuring out what his first, second, and third read options are.
And I think Mayava fits better with Lincoln Riley than Miller Moss. So, yeah.
Yeah, we need to have that dual threat, really.
Yeah.
And Moss was very mobile, in and out of the pocket, but he didn't have that threat that Jaden Mayava can just, pull a 40, 60-yard run on you.
Yeah.
Well, yeah, I was trying to think back to when the Big East folded to a G5, G6 status. Is that when Notre Dame made the jump? That they wanted their Olympic sports in a power
Yep.
conference. Is that when they bailed from Big East?
Yep. It's very important to them, and it's important to every university. Not so much the revenue part of it, but you have people that want your there is how do I say this? The non-revenue sports in these athletic departments, a lot of them have backing. Like they have people in the state, the alumni, the boosters. It's important to people. It's important. It just is. I mean, not to the bottom line so much. I mean, if you cut a few of these sports, you're going to save a little bit of money, of course. But people want those sports to be competitive. They want those sports to have exposure. I mean, I'm telling you, USC, one of the big reasons why USC called the Big Ten, they wanted on the Big Ten network. That the PAC, the PAC network was terrible. It didn't have any distribution. People want to be able to see their nephew, their cousin, their niece, their sister, their brother, their daughter, their son. They want to be able to see their friends. They want to be able to see that person play that softball game, that baseball game, that volleyball. They want to be able to see these other sports, the gymnastics, the swim meets. And you can do that on an SEC network. You can do that on a Big Ten network. And it's going to become easier and easier and easier because of these streaming deals and these, it's very important part of this. And if the ACC loses their top 4 or 5 brands, the ACC network is going to take a big hit, and Notre Dame is going to have to make a choice. Now, they might make a choice that I don't think they're going to, I mean, I might end up being wrong on Notre Dame once again, but I think there is, just North Carolina alone, forget about Florida State, for example. Forget about Miami. Forget about Clemson. The day that we wake up in and we hear the news that North Carolina is in talks with the Big Ten, the SEC, or both, just that alone is going to have a dramatic effect. And I think there's going to be an effect out there that is going to be very hard to judge. It's going to rattle a lot of cages. And then you add on the fact that Florida State is part of that and Clemson is part of that. All of this has to make Notre Dame, when it happens, if it happens, it's got to make Notre Dame think again and again and again exactly what is the future going to look like and when do we have to jump ship. Go ahead, sir.
Yeah, it's that's what I'd like to happen, but it just almost seems too good to be true. It just like I've said that, whenever just when you think you got that leprechaun cornered at the end of that rainbow, he always seems to disappear. And I'm just wondering how many brands need to leave to at least announce that they're leaving. Because, it would be like a year, possibly 2 years in advance if the announcements would happen. If Miami and Duke are still there, is that sufficient amount of brands to retain the P4 status for the ACC? Does Miami and Duke need to be plucked out of there after, the SEC does their 4 scoop before Notre Dame would take it seriously? Because if Miami Miami and Duke want to hang back and maybe collect some of those exit fees, I think it'd be about, $660 million if they left next year, slightly reduced the year thereafter. If Miami and Duke loiter around, is that enough to retain P4 status for the ACC would be the concern. Because if it is, then Notre Dame might say, hey, let's tough it out 5 more years and see where this goes. But if Miami and Duke, Georgia Tech get plucked right away, then that 5-year plan gets accelerated. Notre Dame has to make a decision right then and there rather than saying, let's just wait and see. Is the way I foresee it.
Yeah.
Going.
Jose, I do apologize. I'm going to have to cut this conversation short.
Okay.
I'm
I'll let
gonna
you go for
I'm gonna
Godfather.
have to hang up the phone. We've got breaking news.
All right. Talk to you later.
Yeah, I
Fight on.
appreciate it. Call again, sir. I apologize to Jose. Very important USC, very important family member. Please, Jose, call again. I apologize. Hopefully, I remember to apologize to you the next time you call. We've got breaking news. Breaking news. Ross Dellinger, thank you, CFB Plus, for keeping your head on a swivel. In a meeting with Deloitte officials at the ACC spring meetings, the company shared with athletic directors and coaches interesting figures on the NIL clearinghouse. 70% of past deals with booster collectives would have been denied. 90% of deals from public companies would have been approved. We kind of thought this was going to be the case. We don't know for sure. Deloitte was going to be this big wild card. But the deals from public companies is basically going to be gold when it comes to Deloitte. These other things, they're going to be denying a lot of them. Holy smokes. There is an article. Let me get to it real quick. Hold on, everybody. Absolutely, I did, Corey D. This is big news. We've been all wanting a glimpse into the Deloitte clearinghouse and how tight their operations were going to be when denying these submissions, or denying them or passing them. Absolutely, this is huge news. Absolutely. Monumental. No, that's not a new article. Excuse me. It's just an old one. But this is new information. 70% of past deals from booster collectives would have been denied. So these big ones, man, these big ones that don't have a business, the deal is not associated with a large public company, a lot of them are going to be denied. Wow. And then, of course, it's going to be a challenge in the courts. Wow, there it is, ladies and gentlemen. 70% of past deals from booster collectives would not have gotten through. 70%. And remember, a lot of the booster deals, I know we only hear about the big ones, right? We only hear about the big ones. But let's be honest, most of these collective booster deals are small. And a lot of them would have been denied because they were not really associated with the name, image, and likeness. They were pay to play. Get ready for the lawsuits. No question about it. That's why they're trying to get this codified. They're trying to get this codified in Congress. If it's collective money that is not associated with their true business, they're going to deny it because it's not a name, image, and likeness type of deal. Daniel Gorby says that data makes sense. Wow. Looks like we're going back under the table. Go ahead, Replica. Go ahead, but guess what? If you get caught, Replica, if you get caught, you SEC, you Longhorns, if you get caught, There's going to be punishment, my boy. There's going to be punishment. Hopefully, maybe, possibly. It ain't going to happen. But in the appeal process, is supposed to be pretty quick. I don't know, man. There's going to be punishment. Look, all of this, the enforcement arm, the punishment, the appeals replica, all of that is going to be, you know who's going to be looking over all this? Is going to be those lawyers, the House lawyers. They're going to be overlooking all this. They're going to be looking at it and saying, does this satisfy the settlement? If it doesn't, if people are cheating, if these rules are not being looked at, if there are no guardrails that people are paying attention, they're going to take everybody back to court and everyone's going to be paying through the nose on the back pay. That $2.8 billion is going to go up to $20 billion. Steph Curry playing the next game? Probably not. I don't know why they would. I don't know why Golden State would do that. Don't have the guy get hurt. Get him ready for next season. He's 37 years old, coming off a hamstring. Yeah, look, what markets had these big old public companies? What markets have these big old public companies? Let me see. What is that major city up north? What is that state up north that has more Fortune 500 companies in it than probably 16 out of the 18 Big Ten markets? I can't remember the name. I cannot remember the name of that certain state. Minnesota, baby. Minnesota. Check how many Fortune 500 companies are in Minnesota. Now, they just got to get on board. They got to get on board. The Timberwolves are one game away. Omaha, well, Nebraska's, I don't think Nebraska's ever going to have any issues with name, image, and likeness. That whole state is a name. That whole state, I don't think Nebraska's going to have any problems. I think Nebraska is not going to have any problems in this new era, in my opinion. All right, so that was big breaking news. And that we're going to end the show on that. Holy smokes. Once again, Deloitte, in a meeting with Deloitte officials at the ACC spring meetings, the company shared with athletic directors and coaches interesting figures on the NIL clearinghouse. 70% of past deals from booster collectives would have been denied. 90% of deals from public companies would have been approved. That is massive, massive, massive news. That gives us a hint, a wink, an indication. Let me send something here. Okay. Again, I want to thank everybody who's joined us. It was a great live show. A lot of people came on in. We covered a lot of good information. Talked some football, a lot of football. Went in the Holy Smokes Theater. If you missed it, go back and watch that. We talked about ESPN's ranking of the ACC schools and how they did in the offseason. I disagreed with some of that. Let me know in the chat room after you watch that part. I read all the comments. Even after the live show is over, I read all those comments that get added on later in the hours throughout the night into the next morning. I appreciate all of you guys being so active on our live shows, all your comments, all your questions, all your answers, your donations. I appreciate you all helping us keep the lights on. Ryan Willie, Tony, Stephen McNeely, Preston from Greensboro, Jimmy, Mo and After Dark, Curtis, thank you so much. Thank you so much for your donations. I appreciate you all coming on in. And again, today, for whatever reason, the PATC, Peek Around the Corner, we got to at least 5,000 subscribers. I never thought it was going to happen. Never thought. My wife is going to be shocked. She's going to be shook. 5,000 subscribers for the most unpopular college football YouTube channel in the country. The fat guy from Minnesota, my horrific singing voice, Greg the Cooler. It's going to be Greg the Gold in 2025. But for me to be Greg the Gold in 2025, replica, the Longhorns have to win it all. The Longhorns have to win it all. So keep replica. Don't. Longhorns, if the clearinghouse comes into effect on July 1st, there's a couple things you got to do, Longhorns. You got to keep Arch Manning upright. Don't get that young man injured. Don't get Wisner injured. Don't get any Simmons injured. Don't get any of your top players injured. And number 2, do not cheat, Burnt Orange. Do not cheat. No McDonald bags until at least you get through this season, because it's got to be the year of Greg the Gold. I want to thank you all. Subscribe to our channel if you haven't yet. Turn on those notifications. Smash that like button if you've enjoyed our content today. Keep your head on a swivel. We're not even halfway through May. I think there's some big reporting about to drop. So again, buckle up, brace for impact. Until next time, from all of us at PATC, to all of you, please, you all take great care of each other. Thank you so very much.